the video and you can hear me just fine. Um, and if I don't have that annoying echo like I did a couple months ago, that would be very helpful. All right. Let's see if I can test this myself. So I'm not sure yet if we're live. Yeah, so guys, if you can hear me or see the video feed, let me know. That would be great. Looks like we are live. Okay, good deal. It's been a little while since I've used this particular software, so just wanted to make sure. Okay. So we're going to be starting a brand new workshop in January. So I'm super excited about that. And the name of this workshop is Collected Carolyn. And I don't think I've got that audio doing that echo this time, which is good. So cool. All right. Thanks, Linda. Appreciate it. Um, so this time we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be using a sanded paper. So I've got a couple of different options here. And then thank you so much. Appreciate it, Yulia. So I've got a UArt paper and I've got a Lux Archival. So I want to talk about the different options that are available that I think are good choices to use if you want to join and use a sanded paper. So this would not be the surface that we're going to be working on. I'm just going to test on these surfaces. If I go with Lux Archival, I'll be using something a little closer to that size. If we do, and then that's like a loose sheet is what that is. And then if I use UArt 800, I'm going to use these premium mounted boards. This is a 12 by 16, which I think would be a good option. And I've got this pasted together here so you can see how this would just lay out quite nicely on that size of board. All right. And I love that 800 grade on a UArt paper because it creates just a velvety smooth kind of surface, yet it still has that rough texture. So you can still get a lot of layers. So it would not be good to use a drafting film for this workshop, or a smooth paper would not be a good option either. Um, some other options to go with could be these pastel cards by Selenier. Um, these are this is a very rough textured surface. Might be kind of hard to tell that on camera here, but this is such a stiff surface. And these are all neutral tones right here. But this one would be a good way to go. Mostly meant for pastels. So it would give you the option to do multiple layers. The Meton's Touch would also be a good option. This one, if you feel the surface, it's got this real gritty kind of feel to it, and so not as much tooth, but you can get a surprising amount of layers on it still. You kind of have to fight with it a little bit, but I have used it a couple of times, but not anything real large and real serious. But that would be an option to go with. And then, of course, the old standby. You'll standby paper pastel mat, which is such a great option no matter what you're working on. You just can't hardly beat this paper. So it has these crystal sheets in here to protect the new paper. And this is the smaller, approximately 8 by 10. Or no, I think it's even smaller than that, like a 7 by 9.5 or something. But anyway, it feels very smooth to the touch, but it's very deceptive. It's got this cellulose layer on here that you draw on, and it supports a surprising amount of layers, and you can sort of see the texture, but it's very uniform. So that's a good thing. It will hold up and give you a very even finish, no matter how many layers you put down. You've got just a great look and finish to the drawing when you work on that piece. Okay, so I do have the materials list out there for those of you that did sign up and are going to be part of the workshop. And these are some of the pencils that we have on the materials list. So the first thing I want to do, I've got a lighter copy back here. I've got this printed out. So I just did a quick little rough end just so I can get my bearings on what we're looking at. And I just want to focus on one of these at a time here. Take a look at some options. And sometimes you can put, your test paper right over on top and just look at the edges. Like if I was going to do the background, I would just stick this right on top and start coloring on the edges to do some color matching there. And this is a little bit lighter than probably, I'm going to be using a darker reference, but having a lighter reference and more chroma, just more saturation in your reference at the beginning helps you to see the colors. And then you can tone those down, or you can get closer to a muted color later on, just with some very neutral kind of pencils. So that one might be good. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Might be a better shot right there. So I'll use this. What we put down first was this purple. This is a quinacridone purple 115 in luminance. And then what I put on top of it was the ultramarine violet. So I'm going to put a little bit beside that. Such a nice color. Now, put it up against this darker one. We can see a little more blue in there. So let's see what this might do if I started with ultramarine. And then I went on top with my ultramarine violet. We're getting a little closer there. Maybe some dark indigo in polychromos. And yeah, that is getting closer. Probably go on top of that with ultramarine violet again. And we're getting even closer. All right. Move that one over a moment. So let's take a look at this hair. And by the way, if you guys have any questions at all, just type those in the chat. I should be able to see those fairly quickly. So the hair, there's a couple of pencils here that I think will work really well for some of the more local colors in the hair. Early on, I like to use polychromos pencils because they're so fluid and you can move them around quite easily with a stiff bristled brush, or some of the soft tools like pastel or pan pastel. So I want to see what this will look like on this surface. A little bit right up in here. And then on the darkest side, I'll put just a few strokes over there. Okay. Yeah, so we could come in there and move that around with a paintbrush. Let me just use this one real quick. You can do that with your luminance pencils as well and other pencils, but they just don't move around as well as the polychromos pencils do. There are some pencils that don't hardly move around at all. But the polychromos work best for that. Zoom back out. I didn't know I was getting off the frame there. There we go. You guys got to keep me in line here. Let me know if I'm going off the frame. Okay. Let's go ahead and try the darker of the two here in luminance. So I've got this natural russet and I've got terracotta in luminance. So I'm going to go right beside this one with my natural russet. Slightly darker. Get right in here next to that zygomatic right there. Right next to the orbital structure and then up here on the forehead. Put a little bit over here on this side of the face. I think those will work though. Okay. Use the terracotta, which I've really not been able to use this a whole lot. A little bit here and there. So I'm thinking that would blend together very nicely. And then we'll put some of our brighter colors on top. Now, one thing that I think one color I didn't add to the list that I probably will is light flesh. I don't remember now. Maybe I did add it. I forgot it for a while, and then I think I may have remembered it towards the end. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice. We can come in here, sneak in here just a little bit of orange, which works really well. As long as we don't overdo it. And that would be something that we would be able to put on top towards the end of the drawing even. You can even do it over here on this other side, especially as we're moving out of the darks and we're getting into the lights in these mid areas. Then we could have some orange right in there. Come back inside there with some polychromos. This ivory color. That would work really nicely. And let's get the darker of these. And we would go directly into that dark hair over there on that side. Very nice. Ah, I love that. I am getting so excited about this workshop. All right, so let's take a look at this face really quick. And, when you first look at the light side of a face, especially when pale, you're looking at pale skin, very pale. Then you might think, oh, this is just pure white, and it's not. It's not pure white at all. It's very pale, but it's nothing like white. Let me see if I can line this up for you. Okay, so I'm gonna come in here with some pink white. Go over that with Actually, let me do this. Let me get up closer to where maybe that eye might be right there. I'm going to come in here with some cinnamon. Especially right here on that tear pad. And then right above our top eyelid, right above that edge. And right above the crease. Of course, we could always come in there with a darker pencil for the crease, that upper crease in the upper eyelid. And we're not going to draw this whole thing out, but if we were going to, this is what we would do. We would want to make sure we've got all these colors tested and ready to go. Now we know just based on experience here what some of these colors are going to do anyway. So, okay, let me come in here. I'm going to go on top now with my pink white. And remember, when you're testing like this and you're doing it on a smaller surface, the whole point is to get the colors that you want. Identify those colors. We're not concerned at this moment with proportions. We're not concerned with accuracy in the line drawing or anything like that. What we're concerned with is color matching and looking at it. And then you lay this aside, this becomes your key. You're going to look at this, and sometimes it's helpful just to identify these things, put ivory over here, and then type out, just list out here all of your other pencils that you used. I didn't use ivory though. I used dark indigo. I was thinking of ivory over here. Dark indigo and ultramarine violet. And I used ultramarine. So if that makes sense to you, if you're somebody who can crawl into my head, that makes sense. But you may need to list it all out and just spell it all out. So I would come in here and any pencil colors then that I may use in this spot. And if I need to take notes, then I would draw just this like diagram line over here and list it out if that's something that you need to do. Okay. Let's take a look. And so I use Caput Mortem right up there. So I would list that out. It's not the same color as what I was using in the hair. And so that would become very important. Okay, let's take a look at this sweater, though. This is one of the reasons why I'm choosing to use sanded paper, is because of the sweater. The sweater gives us an opportunity to create something that's very painterly, and we can get some very soft, nice, rich textures in here. So when you look at the texture of certain elements within your composition, some papers are going to help you achieve that, and some of them will make it very, very difficult to achieve. And with pastel mat, it still can work quite well, but I like how you can get a soft, lost and found edge, and with sanded paper, and how you can blend some of these values and the colors together quite easily on this very rough textured surface. Kind of is counter to what you might think in the beginning as you're looking at it and you're not experienced in using the paper. It may be something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you at first, but it does work. Okay. Now, this color, I had a hunch that would that would match really well. I've not tried it on sanded paper, but just being that far away, I'll put it over here on the edge. I still think even getting it right there on the edge, that it's a close enough match, and it's a color I like. So, you could, when you look at that and you evaluate it, there needs to be a little more blue in there to have a very exact match, and then it needs to be muted down a little bit more and not quite so yellow and blue. It's more of a muted color. Let's see what it looks like against this lighter version. Pull it over here, take a look at it. Yeah, still, it's even darker now than what this is, but and I see that we do need to use blue in here as well. So, especially these dark areas, I would use some dark indigo. But we're getting extremely close with that kind of color. So I just pulled, I think this is wheat. Yeah, wheat in uh, Derwent Lightfast. And that may be getting us closer. Although that's sort of a muted yellow, not really an ochre, but see what it looks like on this darker version. Nah, still needs a little bit of work, but it's close. And when you find, that's what I was meaning when I'm talking about using this as a key. Then when you find the colors that you like, then you can just say, okay, this is a color I'm going to use. Mark that, write that down, and you use that as that color every time you see that pop up in your composition. Okay, we've got skin. That skin's going to be a lot of fun. So the reason why I've got the Pablo pencils on there for the most part is for some of the fine details. So that's going to come near the end. There are certain things you could, do in the beginning to just preserve some of the detail. Like often we'll do that with, let me grab my Pablo white pencil. You could do that, in the eye. You could use the Pablo on top, and this is another reason why I love sanded paper, just to put your reflection in there, and it will accept light colors over dark colors, which is just fantastic. Not something that we can achieve on so many other surfaces that we draw on. So I love that. And that eye is going to bother me if I don't just fill it in. So I'm going to go ahead and, um, whoops, I just broke that one. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the gray for that sclera right there. And just complete that. These eyes are mesmerizing. This particular model, her name's Caroline, and she's got a very, uh, just a very uh, mesmerizing gaze. But the other thing that's going on is if you look close enough, and this particular reference may not do it justice, but these these eyes, the iris color is nearly transparent. It's just such a very soft and sensitive blue color. So it's kind of exciting. Let's work on this for a moment here. I want to raise that up just a little bit. And add just a little bit of light flesh over here on this side. might have been a little too much. Put a little more gray back in there. Okay. It would take us a long time to really, um, work on that more. But oh, I get to kick someone off here. Got a spammer, it looks like. Let's see here. I remember how to do this. Let me take a look here. Bear with me, guys. Mm, let's see. It looks like it may not, it may be filtered, so that's good. Maybe not. Ah, here we go. Okay. All right. Okay. Any questions? Any questions at all about surfaces or pencil colors? So the other thing we're going to use with the Pablo pencils is we'll use that as some of the final details to show some of those flyaway hairs. We can show just a real fine pencil line, and that can represent a hair. And you may be thinking, well, isn't that difficult to do on sanded paper? Doesn't that just get swallowed up in all that tooth? And it doesn't actually. It's kind of a surprising thing, but um, you're actually able. We're very much able to put in some of those tiny, tiny details. So that's exciting. It's such a good paper to draw on. Okay. Well, it is very quiet out here tonight. I guess, just being close to the end of the year, we just don't have many people interacting tonight, so I'm gonna go ahead. Let's see here, we got one question here. What's the name of the surface you're using? Okay, so this surface right here that I'm using is Lux Archival, is what that is. So, Lux Archival, um, premium sanded paper, I believe it's called. So I'm having trouble hearing. Can you say that again? No new questions? All right. It's been fun, guys. Thanks for joining me out here. And if you're interested in joining the workshop, let me grab a link for you because the pre-sale is going on and it's going to be over very, very soon. So it ends tomorrow night. Let's go ahead and stick the pre-sale out here. There we go. Michelle has a question. Will you use solvents? Um, I've not decided yet. I tend to not use them if I don't need to. And so what I really mean by that is if I can use dry blending, I like to use a stiff bristled brush and then not use solvent if I don't have to. So that's probably the way that we'll go. Um, so that's what I'm hoping anyway. Is that we'll just use the dry brush to be able to blend. So, all right. You're welcome, Gary. Thanks for joining us. And let's see, Mary, do you have a list of the possible papers and the brands of pencils? Yeah, that is on the materials list. If you've signed up, Mary, if you haven't signed up, just shoot me an email. I'll be happy to give you that list. Yeah, anybody else, if you're interested in knowing those papers that we just talked about or the list of papers, if you're joining late, we did talk about some, but you're welcome to email me and I will reply back with those papers just in case you don't know my email. I'll type it in here. Here we go. And let's see here. John at sharpenedartist.com. That little comment is getting truncated, it looks like. It's in the chat, though, in the live chat. John at sharpenedartist.com. And yeah, go ahead and yeah, you're welcome, Mary. Yeah, go ahead and email me and I'll send you that list of papers. Absolutely. Okay, I guess I will let you guys go. Have a good evening. It's good to connect with you all. I love doing these. So we're gonna have to do more. And I'll get a little more familiar with this software. I started using it a few months ago and didn't use it very often. So, but I have it and I need to start using it. I like doing live streams. So, just got away from doing those for a while, but I am looking forward to the workshop. And so that's going to start in what, 3 weeks, I think it is. So you can still purchase it after tonight if you want to, and after tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day to get the pre-sale price, but after that it goes up by $30. So, but it's 2 hours a night for 6 weeks. So we start on Tuesday, the 10th of January, and we'll meet from 5 to 7 Eastern time. And then we meet on Thursday, 5 to 7. And so if you join us, that's what we do. We just keep meeting at that same time for 2 hours at a time. We take a small break, and you're welcome to join when you can. If you don't catch the live class, then it's up there. The recording is up there, and it's in 1080p. So it's high def recording, and it's up there available for you like within an hour, typically. All right, guys, thanks so much. We will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.